Started? Recording started?
Yes, yes.
The appearance of Sukadeva Goswami is the chapter. Yeah. Sutuvacha Mahipati तत्कर्म गर्यं विचिन्तयन् आत्मकृतं सुदुर्मनाः अहो मया नीचम् अनार्यवत् कृतं निरागसी ब्रह्मणि गूढतेजसी. So appearance of Sukadeva Goswami, very important chapter. When appearance of Sukadeva Goswami is there, then appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam is there. So this chapter is very important because it is related to the previous chapter. The previous chapter speaks about the curse given to Parikshit Maharaj. So naturally, we know that how Parikshit Maharaj sits on the banks of Ganga, and there how Sukadeva Goswami reaches. But how Sukadeva Goswami is born, that is how this chapter is starting. Mahipati, the king, to that, but Ataha thus, while coming back, that karma act, Rahyam, abominable, Vichintayan, thus thinking, Atmakrutam, done by himself, Sudurmanaha, very much depressed, Aho alas, Maya, by me, Nicham, heinous, Anarya, uncivilized, what life, Krutam done, Niragasi, unto one who is faultless, Brahmani, unto a Brahmana, Guda, grave, Tejasi, unto the power. The Sutta Goswami is saying this, Sutuvach, that while returning home, the king Maharaj Parishit felt that the act he had committed against the faultless and powerful Brahmana was heinous and uncivilized. Consequently, he was distressed. So this is the Lakshana of a high class devotee. See, to everybody does mistake, but to realize that I am doing a mistake itself is a big thing. Now the king, he did not say that the Brahmana was at fault. He was just cursing himself. He was just thinking, what act I did? That Brahmana was actually meditating was so faultless. Just because he did not give water or he did not realize that I have come and I was asking water. I just put a dead snake on his neck. Is it not a heinous act what I have done? So this is the nature of a high class devotee. High class devotee always considers his fault instead of seeing fault in others. My video is not working. I don't know why. I'm clicking, it is not coming. So anyhow, today class will be without video. Okay, you are able to hear my voice, no? So Kusum,
Yes, mother. Yes,
yes,
mother. Yes,
I don't know two
yes.
buttons are not. Who has participated also, I'm not able to know. So Kusum, you have to guide next. Who will be there? Who all have participated? One time I saw Vimla was there, and now this button is
Ha,
also not.
Narayan is there. Narayan is there. Krishna Priya is there, Mataji.
Narayan is there, Krishna Priya, Vimla, and
Yes,
yourself. Na? So you all
yes.
share among yourselves because my this button is also not working. I don't know what has
Okay,
happened to
Mataji.
me. Okay, now you read.
I'll read, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Suta Yuvacha Mahipatis Twatha Tat Karmadharyam Vichintayan Atmakritam Sudurmanaha Aho Maya Nicham Anaryavat Niragasi Brahmani Gura Tejasi. Translation in purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sri Suta Goswami said, while returning home, the king Maharaj Parikshit felt that the act he had committed against the faultless and powerful Brahmana was heinous and uncivilized. Consequently, he was distressed. But the pious king regretted his accidental improper treatment of the powerful Brahmana who was faultless. Such repentance is natural for a good man like the king, and such repentance delivers a devotee from all kind of sins accidentally committed. The devotees are naturally faultless, Accidental sins committed by a devotee are sincerely regretted, and by the grace of the Lord, all sins unwillingly committed by a devotee are burnt in the fire of repentance. Thank you.
So this is a very good nature. One should repent for the mistake. One is repenting for one's own mistake. Another is forgiving others' mistake. Simple. These two are the lakshana of high class devotee. One repents his mistake. Another is one forgives others' mistake. Next. ध्रुवं ततो मे कृतदेव हेलनात् दुरत्ययं व्यसनं दीर्घात् ततस्तु कामं यगनिष्कृताय मे यथा न कुर्यां पुनरेव मद्धा. So Parishad Maharaj is thinking, Dhruvam, sure and certain, Tatha, therefore, may my Kutadeva Helanath, because of disobeying the orders of the Lord, Durateyam, very difficult, Vesanam, calamity, no not, Ati greatly, Dirghat, far off, that, Astu let it be, Kamam, desire without reservations, he certainly, Agar sins, Nishkrutaya, forgetting free, may my, Yatha so that, no never, Kuryam, shall I do it, Puna again, Eva, as I have done, Adha, directly. King Parishad thought, due to my neglecting the injunctions of the Supreme Lord, I must certainly expect some difficulty to overcome me in the near future. I now desire without reservation that the calamity come now. For in this way I may be freed of the sinful action and not commit such an offense again. So very nice it has been told. Parishad Maharaj is saying he yet doesn't know that the curse has been given. So he says, "Oh Lord, I have violated your rule. The rule is one should respect a Brahmana. He is the topmost, he is the head of Lord. He is the head, which is considered to be the head of Lord. Brahmana is the head of Lord. So I violated your injunctions. So naturally, I should have some difficulty. So in those days, when any difficulty used to come, they used to always say, this is, I have heard my Nani and all saying, our only karma. Difficulty means our karma. Whatever difficulties we are facing, we cannot just curse others. Whatever difficulty we are having, it is our own karma. We are reaping our own karma. So he says, I have done such a bad act. So my karma is so bad. Actually, I should get some calamity or some difficulty I should get. But let it come now only. Let it not be accumulated in the future. Let it come now. That is what is given. For in this way I will be fixed. I will be freed of the sinful action and not commit such an offense again. In this I remember my father. My father used to pray, Lord, every day. What is his prayer? Whatever his prayers, you give me punishment for today's any of my acts, knowingly, unknowingly, which I have committed. Any sinful acts which knowingly, unknowingly I have committed. Please give me punishment here and there only. Don't accumulate it for the next life. Don't accumulate it for the next future. So he used to always pray this. I have heard my father praying like this. So it is good. That is, see, this is all we learned from Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavatam also, Parishad Maharaj is saying, you give it now only, so that in the future I will not commit again. It's good. So in this way, here Parishad Maharaj is asking, he is not saying, oh sorry Lord, please forgive me. No. Forgiving the mistakes doesn't work. We will commit again. That is actually Christian philosophy. You do it, and on one day, like Sunday, they go and do some atonement. I don't know which day, whether Sunday or Friday, something, they go and do atonement. Doesn't work. You give, if you have done mistake, be bold to ask, please give me punishment. So that is what is taught in Bhagavatam. And one should have that faith. Yes, when Krishna gives punishment, he gives the tolerance also to receive that punishment. He gives that strength also to receive the punishment. That's why devotees have so much faith in Krishna. Whatever you have given, whatever, sometimes we have praise, sometimes people criticize us. It is good so that one doesn't have a false ego. So it is good. When Krishna is giving such things, it makes a person understand that this world is not so easy to cross. Okay. So read who is there next. Priya,
I
read.
will read
Women
Mata,
participate in
Krishna
Mataji.
Priya. Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Priya.
It's
All
true.
of you don't speak at a
What is
time,
my
huh?
name?
Because
Dhruvam
who is reading? Priya is reading, na? Krishna Priya.
Krishna Priya. Yes, yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
You keep your video off because now I don't know, your videos are on, I think. Keep your video off
My
because the
video
voice,
is
video is off because voice is not coming properly. That is why.
it now okay, Mataji?
No, it's something's okay. You read, then I'll
Okay. Okay, okay. ध्रुवं ततो मे कृतदेव हेलनाद् दुरत्ययं व्यसनं नातिदीर्घात् तदस्तु कामं यघनाश्कृताय मे यथा न कुर्या पुनरेव मध्वा. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Parikshit thought, due to my neglecting the injunctions of the Supreme Lord, I must certainly expect some difficulty to overcome me in the near future. I now desire without a reservation that the calamity come now. For in this way, I may be freed of the sinful action and not commit such an offense again. Perfect. That the Supreme Lord enjoins that Brahmanas and cows must be given all protection. The Lord is himself very much inclined to do good to Brahmanas and cows. Go Brahmana is
voice is not coming. Haribol. Haribol, Nikhil,
Yes, Mataji.
you read. The voice is not coming.
Okay, Mataji, I'll read Mataji.
yes,
Ma'am, Mataji, should I start from the start?
Yeah, start.
ध्रुवं
Now,
ततो मे कृतदेव हेलनात् दुरत्ययं व्यसनं नातिदीर्घात् तदस्तु कामं यगनीष्कृताय मे यथा न कुर्यां पुनरेव मद्धा. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: King Parishit Maharaj thought, due to my neglecting the injunctions of the Supreme Lord, I must certainly expect some difficulty to overcome me in the near future. I now desire without reservation that the calamity come now, for in this way I may be freed of the sinful action and not commit such an offense again. Purport: the Supreme Lord enjoins that brahmanas and cows must be given all protection. The Lord in himself very much inclined to do good to brahmanas and cows, go brahmanya hitaya cha. Maharaj Parikshit knew all this, and thus he concluded that his insulting a powerful brahmana was certainly to be punished by the laws of the god, and he was expecting something very difficult in the near future. He therefore desired the imminent calamity to fall on him and not on his family members. A man's misconduct affects all his family members. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit desired the calamity to fall on him alone. By suffering personally, he would be restrained from future sins, and at the same time, the sin which the sin which he had committed would be counteracted so that his descendants would not suffer. That is the way a responsible devotee thinks. The family members of a devotee also share the effects of the devotee's service unto the Lord. Maharaj Prahlad saved his demon father by his personal devotional service. A devotee son in the family is the greatest boon or blessing of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Next, third one. So there's always a rule. Maharaj Prahlad saved his Devan father by his personal devotional service. A devotee son in the family is the greatest blessing and boon. So in this way, if there is a devotee in the house, then he saves his parents. Okay, next. Hmm, okay. अत्यैव राज्यं बलमृतकोशम् प्रकोपित ब्रह्मकुलानलो मे दहत्वभद्रस्य पुनर्न मे भू पापीयसीभिर्द्विजदेव गोभ्यः अद्यः this day एव on the very Rajyam, kingdom, Balam Vruddha, strength and riches, Kosham, treasury, Prakopita, united by Brahma Kula, by the Brahmana community, Analaha, fire, Me Dahatu, let it burn me, Abhatrasya, inauspiciousness, Punaha, again, Na, not, Me, unto me, Abhut, may require, may occur, Papiyasi, sinful, the intelligence, Vija, Brahmanas, Deva, the Supreme Lord, Gopya, and the cows. I am uncivilized and sinful due to my neglect of Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. Therefore, I wish that my kingdom, strength, and riches burn up immediately by the fire of the Brahmanas' wrath, so that in near future I may not be guided by such inauspicious attitudes. So he's seeing, he's cursing himself. He is repenting, says, I'm such an uncivilized person. I cannot protect a cow because in his kingdom the cow is beaten, the bull is beaten. He says, I am neglecting cow protection. Actually, it's very important. To protect our dharma, we have to protect cows. Today I had gone to the farms. So nice to be there. I was just thinking why to come back. So nice. I'll send you the photographs. So nice is the farm over there. It's very much important to protect the cows. It's very much important to protect the Brahminical culture. What Srila Prabhupada has given us, these three things: God consciousness, Brahminical culture, and cow protection. And if we are not responsible for these three, then we cannot call ourselves a devotee. So God consciousness by chanting the holy name of Krishna, morning, evening, every time, reading, hearing, swadhyaya, hearing, chanting, that is God consciousness. Cow protection, yes, by donating. We should keep one share for the cows. Whenever we get a salary, whatever, just keep one share for the cows. Because if we protect mother cow protects us. Because we don't know what happens if there is no cow in the society. The whole culture will be lost. Intelligence will be gone. It's only mother cows go rust. Because of that, we are able to protect the Satoguna. And if you don't protect the Brahminical culture, if there are no Vaishnavas, then what will happen? We don't know what is going to happen. That is why protection of the temple and nourishment of the Brahmanas is very much required. So these three has been given to us. And this is our responsibility to protect. That is why two can be protected by extending the donations, going to the temples and serve, going to the goshalas and serving. And one can be protected by following the regulatory principles and chanting the holy name. And propagating Krishna consciousness, yes, preaching activities that will protect us. But here now, Parishit Maharaj is saying that I was not able to do that. So actually, all my riches should be burnt. What is the use of the riches if I'm not able to do the protection in the right time? Like now, my begging bowl is going everywhere because we don't have green grass in the farms. I just visited, everything is just barren. And the cows, because of the heat, they have to be fed a lot of good because so much of dehydration happens. A lot of good has to be fed, salt has to be fed, so many things. This summer means it is a tough time. Practically 200 kilos of good is required. 200 bags of dana. So many items are required because in summers they are practically inside uh, the shed. So naturally they feel hungry. When they go out, they feel their stomach can come at least some little portion. But when they are inside, because it's too hot, they cannot be sent outside also. Too much, they cannot stay outside. Naturally, when you are inside the house, you feel like to eat more. And we have to feed them nicely. So my humble request to everyone, just serve the cows, just extend your sevas. Okay? And so this is an opportunity for me to ask because it is given here. Parishit Maharaj says, if I'm not doing that, better my kingdom, riches and everything burn up. And let it be immediately burned by the fire of the Brahmana's wrath, so that in the future I may be guided by such, I may not be guided by inauspicious attitudes. I did not protect the Brahminical culture. I did not respect the greatest Brahmana. So here, so who is there next? Who will read? Vimla, you read.
Yes. Hare
Our
Krishna
Vimla,
Mata.
our Vimla Mataji, I'm going to praise a little. I know
Why?
she doesn't like my praise. You know, she is the person who steals in her own house to protect the cows. I call. She
Oh
just
God.
It just goes on saving the money what husband gives. It is like, she's such a wonderful person, never wants any name, but I cannot remain without giving you the name. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mata. Addevarajam balamraddhakosham प्रकोपिता ब्रह्मकुलानलो मे दहत्वा भगस्य पुनर्नमे भूत पापीयसी धीर द्विजधीर गोभ्यः. Translation: I am uncivilized and sinful due to my neglect of Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection. Therefore, I wish that my kingdom, strength, and riches burn up immediately by the fire of the Brahmana's wrath, so that in the future I may not be guided by such inauspicious attitudes. Purport: progressive human civilization is based on Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and protection of cows. All economic development of the state by trade, commerce, agriculture, and industries must be fully utilized in relation to the above principles. Otherwise, all so called economic development becomes a source of degradation. Cow protection means feeding the Brahminical culture, which leads towards God consciousness, and thus perfection of human civilization is achieved. The age of Kali aims at killing the higher principles of life, and although Maharaj Parikshit strongly resisted the domination of the personality of Kali within the world, the influence of the age of Kali came at an opportune moment, and even a strong king like Maharaj Parikshit was induced to disregard the Brahminical culture due to a slight provocation of hunger and thirst. Maharaj Parikshit lamented the accidental incident, and he desired that all his kingdom, strength, and accumulation of wealth would be burned up for not being engaged in Brahminical culture, etc. Where wealth and strength are not engaged in the advancement of Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection, the state and home are surely doomed by providence. If we want peace and prosperity in the world, we should take lessons from this verse. Every state and every home must endeavor to advance the cause of Brahminical culture for self purification, God consciousness, for self realization, and cow protection for getting sufficient milk and the best food to continue a perfect civilization. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Next. Okay. सचिन्तयन् इत्थं तथा शृणोत्यथा मुने सुतो नृतिस्तक्षकाभ्यः ससाधु मेनेन चिरेण तक्षका नलं प्रसत्तस्य विरक्तिकारणम्. Sah he, the king, Chintayan, thinking, Itham like this, Atha now, Ashrunut heard, Itha as, Mune of the sage, Suta Uktaha uttered by the son, Nirti, death, Takshaka Akhyaha, in relation with the snake bird, Saha, he the king, Sadhu, well and good, Mene accepted, no not, Chirena, very long time, Takshaka, snake bird, Analam, fire, Prasaktasya, for one who is too attached, Virakti, indifference, Idranam, Karanam, cause. So in this way, when he was repenting, he got a news that Suta Uktaha, the son, uttered a curse. He heard, Ashrot means he heard, that he received the news of his death, which would be due to the bite of the snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage son. The king accepted this as good news, for it would be the cause of his indifference towards worldly things. So he was so happy. Oh, wonderful. So that I can become now indifferent to all these things to which I am attached, to the position, to the crown, to the to the family members, to the kingdom, whatever. So this will cause indifference towards all the material things. So he accepted this as sadhu. Sadhu means well and good, wonderful. This will also cure me of all pride. So in this way, very soon, na chirena takshaka analam. So very soon he will be bit by a snake bird and is going to die. Okay. Jumod is there? Jumod?
Mataji, she is there. Mataji, she is lead.
You read.
Next one. Yeah.
सचिन्तयन् इत्थम् अथा शृणोद्यथा मुनेः सुतोक्तो नित्यस्तक्षकाख्यः स साधुमेनेन चिरेण तक्षका नलं प्रसक्तस्य विरक्तिकारणम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While the king was thus repenting, he received news of his imminent death, which would be due to the bite of a snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage's son. The king accepted this as good news, for it would be the cause of his indifference towards worldly things. The purport. Real happiness is achieved by spiritual existence or by cessation of the repetition of birth and death. One can stop the repetition of birth and death only by going back to Godhead. In the material world, even by attaining the topmost planet, Brahmalok, one cannot get rid of the conditions of repeated birth and death. But still, we do not accept the path of attaining perfection. The path of perfection frees one from all material attachments, and thus one becomes fit to enter into the spiritual kingdom. Therefore, those who are materially poverty stricken are better candidates than those who are materially prosperous. Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of the Lord and a bona fide candidate for entering into the kingdom of God. But even though he was so, his material assets as the emperor of the world were setbacks to perfect attainment of his rightful status as one of the associates of the Lord in the spiritual sky. As a devotee of the Lord, he could understand that the cursing of the Brahmana boy, although unwise, was a blessing upon him, being the cause of detachment from worldly affairs, both political and social. Shamika Muni, also after regretting the incident, conveyed the news to the king as a matter of duty so that the king would be able to prepare himself to go back to Godhead. Shamika Muni sent news to the king that foolish Shringi, his son, although a powerful Brahmana boy, unfortunately had misused his spiritual power by cursing the king unwarrantedly. The incident of the king's garlanding the Muni was not sufficient cause for being cursed to death, but since there was no way to retract the curse, the king was informed to prepare for death within a week. Both Shamika Muni and the king were self realized souls. Shamika Muni was a mystic and Maharaj Parikshit was a devotee. Therefore, there was no difference between them in self realization. Neither of them was afraid of meeting death. Maharaj Parikshit could have gone to the Muni to beg his pardon, but the news of imminent death was conveyed to the king with so much regret by the Muni that the king did not want to shame the Muni further by his presence there. He decided to prepare himself for his imminent death and find out the way to go back to Godhead. The life of a human being is a chance to prepare oneself to go back to Godhead or to get rid of the material existence, the repetition of birth and death. Thus, in the system of Varnashrama Dharma, every man and woman is trained for this purpose. In other words, the system of Varnashrama Dharma is known also as Sanatana Dharma or the eternal occupation. The system of Varnashrama Dharma prepares a man for going back to Godhead, and thus a householder is ordered to go to the forest as a vanaprastha to acquire complete knowledge and then to take sannyasa prior to his inevitable death. Parikshit Maharaj was fortunate to get a 7-day notice to meet his inevitable death. But for the common man, there is no definite notice, although death is inevitable for all. Foolish men forget this sure fact of death and neglect the duty of preparing themselves for going back to Godhead. They spoil their lives in animal propensities to eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. Such an irresponsible life is adopted by the people in the age of Kali because of a sinful desire to condemn Brahmanical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection, for which the state is responsible. The state must employ revenue to advance these three items and thus educate the populace to prepare for death. The state which does so is a real welfare state. The state of India should better follow the examples of Maharaj Parikshit, the ideal executive head, than to imitate other materialistic states which have no idea of the kingdom of Godhead, the ultimate goal of human life. Deterioration of the ideals of Indian civilization has brought about the deterioration of civic life not only in India but also in abroad. Hare Krishna.
Next. Take this last verse. अथो विहाये ममो च लोकम् विमर्शितो हेयतया पुरस्तात् कृष्णाङ्घ्रिसेवामतिमन्यमान उपाविशत्प्राय ममर्त्यनद्याम् अथो thus vihaya giving up imam this amum and the next also lokam planets vimarshito all of them being judged here because of inferiority, Purastat, herein before, Krishnangri, the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, Sevam, transcendental loving service, Adhimaya, Adhimya, Adhimanyamana, one who thinks of the greatest of all achievements, Upavishat, sat down firmly Prayam for fasting, Amartya Nadyam on the bank of the transcendental river, the Ganges or the Yamuna. Maharaj Parikshit sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganga to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness. Transcendental river, Amartya Nadyam. Can be Ganga or it can be Yamuna also. Here it is there Ganga or Yamuna. But this is Ganga. Why? Because it's near Hastinapur. And so Ganga, something like that comes out, it comes here. It is Ganga. Because this comes, it's a nice place. We have visited this place actually, where Parishit Maharaj sat and heard. I'm not able to recollect the name. I'll tell you. Okay, it is on the bank of Ganga to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness, rejecting all practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, superseding all other methods. Nikhil, do you remember we had gone, this yatra we had gone, this place, Suktal. This place is near Delhi, Suktal. This is near Ganga. There's a place where Sukadeva Goswami comes and teaches Parikshit Maharaj. Very beautiful place, Suktal. And what he did was, first thing is, he gave up all the practices of self-realization. So only he wanted to hear about Lord. No other practice. He could have done many other things. He could have done some karma kandi, nothing. Just sat. He knew that in 1 week his death is inevitable. So for him, the highest and the topmost is only hearing about Lord. So he sat on the bank of Ganga, concentrated his mind in Krishna consciousness, and then all other practices of self-realization was rejected by him. He kept fasting, and then in this way he sat firmly, Upavishat. He just wanted to hear about Lord. But from whom? But from whom he should hear about Lord? That he was not aware, but he wanted to hear about Lord. So when the deep desire is there, Krishna made a perfect arrangement. That is how Sukadeva Goswami comes to Parishit Maharaj. Okay, Kusum, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. अथो विहायमम् अमुं च लोकं विमर्शितौ हेयतया पुरस्तात् कृष्णाङ्घ्रिसेवाम् अधिमन्यमाना उपाविशत् प्रायम् अमर्त्य नद्याम् अभर्त्य नद्याम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maharaj Parikshit sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganges to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness, rejecting all other practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, superseding all other methods. Purport: for a devotee like Maharaj Parikshit, none of the material planets, even the topmost Brahmaloka, is as desirable as Golok Vrindavan, the abode of Lord Krishna, the primal Lord and original personality of Godhead. This earth is one of the innumerable material planets within the universe, and there are innumerable universes also within the compass of the Mahatattva. The devotees are told by the Lord and his representatives, the spiritual masters or acharyas, that not one of the planets within all the innumerable universes is suitable for the residential purposes of a devotee. The devotee always desires to go back home, back to Godhead, just to become one of the associates of the Lord in the capacity of servitor, friend, parent, or conjugal lover of the Lord, either in one of the innumerable Vaikuntha planets or in Golok Vrindavan, the planet of Lord Sri Krishna. All these planets are eternally situated in the spiritual sky, the Paravyoma, which is on the other side of the causal ocean within the Mahatattva. Maharaj Parikshit was already aware of all this information due to his accumulated piety and birth in a high family of devotees, Vaishnavas, and thus he was not at all interested in the material planets. Modern scientists are very eager to reach the moon by material arrangements, but they cannot conceive of the highest planet of this universe. But a devotee like Maharaj Parikshit does not care a fig for the moon or, for that matter, any of the material planets. So, when he was assured of his death on a fixed date, he became more determined in the transcendental loving service of Lord Krishna by complete fasting on the bank of the transcendental river Yamuna, which flows down by the capital of Hastinapura in the Delhi state. Both the Ganges and the Yamuna are Amartya, transcendental rivers,
It
and
is
the
given here
Yamuna is
Yamuna.
still
It is given Yamuna, not Ganga. Barabar. So this is Yamuna here, not Ganga. But we say Ganga. Here Srila Prabhupada says Yamuna. What is given here?
both the Ganges, both the
I
Ganges
can-
and the Yamuna are Amartya.
They both are Amartya, but
Transcendental.
what flows?
And
Here
the
flows.
Yamuna is still more sanctified for the
Ah,
following reasons.
let me check with Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary also. Okay, you read further.
Finish Mataji, Hare Krishna. Finish Mataji.
Over, no?
Done.
One. Here it is given. Because it is there in the capital of Hastinapur, that is for sure. And it is on the bank of Yamuna. Both are Amartya, that is why, but this is Yamuna, not Ganga. But generally we say Maharaj Parishit sat on the bank of Ganga, we say. But both are celestial, that is why we don't find difference. But here what is given, let me see, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's comment. But there Yamuna flows, that is for sure. But let me see. How did he, not much. It has been given here Ganga only. There is no talk about
But
Yamuna.
this in the next verse, it is explained the qualities of the river.
That is there, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur speaks only about Ganga. He sat with a vow of not eating on the bank of Ganga. Next verse also he speaks about Ganga only. There is no question of Yamuna here at all. Though Yamuna flows there, but talk is about only Ganga. So let me see what is sixth verse, right? You're saying sixth verse. The river Ganga, by which side carries the most auspicious water. Therefore, the water sanctifies inside. Yes. The king took the shelter, but Prabhupada is again emphasizing the king took shelter on the bank of Ganga. But according to Jiva Goswami, the king took shelter on the bank of Yamuna. Okay, it is according to Jiva Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit resided in the capital of Hastinapur, and the river Yamuna flows past. Naturally, the king would have taken shelter of Yamuna. It is flowing past his palace door. As far as the sanctity is concerned, the river Yamuna is more directly connected with Lord Krishna than the Ganga. Yamuna flows from actually the heart of Lord. The Lord sanctified the river Yamuna transcendental platform by his transcendental pastimes. Okay. So Yamuna is glorified here. Anyhow. So according to Varaha Puran, as quoted by Srila Jiva Goswami, there is no difference between water of Ganga and Yamuna. But when the water of Ganga is sanctified 100 times, it is called Yamuna. Okay. 1000 of Vishnu is equal to 1 Rama. 3 names of Rama is equal to 1 name of Krishna. So in that way, it is said this is Yamuna. Because if Ganga is sanctified 100 times more, that is Yamuna. In Yamuna, Krishna performed all the pastimes. That is why the next verse is given. Okay. So here we'll stop. Any doubts? These are only the doubt. Ganga or Yamuna. Actually, it is said Yamuna only. The Yamuna is 100 times Ganga is sanctified, that is Yamuna. Yamuna
Mataji,
only. Yeah.
Ganga is sanctified 100 times or 1,000 times, then it becomes Yamuna. What does it mean?
What it means is Yamuna, Krishna directly performed the pastimes. Ganga flows from the lotus feet of Krishna. And in Yamuna, Krishna bathes, Krishna crosses. So when you say 100 times sanctified means it has to take 100 times to, or you can say 100 times more penance to have Krishna performing pastimes on the banks of Ganga. That's also one meaning you can say. Anyhow, Ganga and Yamuna, there is no difference. First, there is no difference. But still, just because Krishna bathes in Yamuna, Yamuna is more sanctified. 100 times more sanctified. That is why Ganga cries actually. What mistake I have done? That is why in Chaitanya Leela, you will find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performing pastimes on the banks of Ganga. He also goes and takes bath in Ganga. In this way, Ganga is pacified. So Ganga and Yamuna, there is a competition. In between, Kaveri also comes. You know that?
Oh,
Both of them think they are the best rivers. And Kaveri, then the Lord says, don't worry. In 3 places, I will perform pastimes in near Kaveri. That is how you have 3 Rangas. Adi Ranga, Madhya Ranga, and Antaranga. That is how you have Sri Rangapatnam, Shivan Samudra, and Ranganatha. That is in Sri Ranga. So Kaveri also is in competition. What to do? Because she is not in competition actually. These both actually they tease her. See, Lord performed pastimes. And Kaveri says, what I have done mistake. What mistake I have done? So Lord says, don't worry. I will perform all the pastimes near your banks. There is a celestial competition actually. Just to obtain their beloved.
okay. Thank you, Mataji. And the difference between Shamik Muni and Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj is a devotee and Shamik Muni is a mystic. So, what does it mean?
What? What is that?
Shamik Muni is a mystic and Parikshit Maharaj is a devotee. What is the difference?
A mystic means he's a Jnani, yogi. Mystic yogis. A devotee means he always serves Krishna. Yogi is always in trance, trying to become one with Lord. A devotee doesn't try to become one with Lord, but always tries to engage himself in the service of Lord. Brahmabhuta Prasannatma yogis. Devotees also Brahmabhuta Prasannatma, but externally they take all the anxiety to serve Krishna. Devotee's life is full of anxiety. Understand it nicely. Why? Because always they are serving Krishna and the devotees. But those who are yogis, they don't want to take all this anxiety. There's Brahmabhuta Prasanna. They are with themselves. But the real Ananda is experienced only by devotees. The more you serve, the more you relish. Isn't it?
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, I'm going to say Mukunda Mala Stotra.
Hey, Baba.
श्रीवल्लभेति वरदेति दयापरेति भक्तप्रियेति भवलुण्ठनको विदेति नाथे नागशयनेति जगन्निवासेति आलापिनं प्रतिदिनं कुरु मां मुकुन्द. I learned this by
Jayatu Devo. Acha, one verse you learned one verse. That is very good. Very good. Now your feet is breaking.
संस्कृतरूपस्य कृपा सिंधु च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Vaishnavi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari- I'll call. I don't know. I'm not able to do any buttons. Hari bol. Of the Zoom.
Yes.
I'm not able to leave the group also of the Zoom. गौतम गौतम क्या हुआ, हैंग हो गया? गौतम गौतम को बोलो ना बंद करने के लिए। गौतम